Hello everyone. Have you or a loved one ever been inside of an AC public lobby? Then you may be experiencing PTSD. Anybody who's raced in one of these lobbies absolutely knows that the most heinous and ungodly things happen in these lobbies. Simply like trying to use a new car can lead to things like this that just further your depression with every meter you go on the gas. But today we're here to prove that AC public lobbies are not all bad. There are good things about these lobbies that I think are worth, talking about and are worth trying to show to the masses. So, in this race we tried to run in the McLaren. Usually I'm in the Ferrari. But some of this blasphemy happens on the start line, which it doesn't get much better than this because everybody just disappears. So that kind of doesn't bode well for the video. But we do get out of the turn one shenanigans that are, consistent would be an understatement, to be honest. Turn one shenanigans on an AC public lobby are basically a given. But we get out of turn one this time, and we're clean. We're in a good spot in the race. Most of our competition is gone in this mid-pack. And so now, really, the whole challenge, for the most part, is trying to wrestle the McLaren, which, in my eyes, is a horrible car. I said what I said. We go up the inside of the two Ferraris here because we had a better run through Rouge and Radeon, which is surprising given the oversteer that we had. But we managed to get past, avoid all of the scuffle that's going to happen behind us there. And we're still looking to charge up to the rest of the field. A nice and saucy P6. Looking for more opportunities. That's an opportunity for us to pass because he doesn't make it very far into the race. He's gone P5. We're up, baby. And one of the greatest things about these lobbies is watching people crash. There's just stupid stuff that is happening left and right, which is just so fun to witness. Sometimes you get caught up in it, and maybe that's not the best. But I would argue the good outweighs the bad. Struggling through that section of corners there in the McLaren, it's just a horrible car. I don't know why I chose to drive it for this session. Usually I'm in the Ferrari, like I said. That guy in the Ferrari, he's having a little bit harder time than I think I would, but that's just me. We come up through here, lap 2 of 7. We've already seen multiple instances of people dying. That guy, side of the road, another victim claimed today. Through Puan here, and you can just see it does turn in well, but the whole time you're fighting oversteer that you just don't want to be fighting. It's a handful of a car. It could have been me on the day, but I would like to think that I'm better than that. However, I'm not better than this because I clearly don't want to keep the car on track. Clearly struggling. So we switched to the Ferrari for the next race. Must not have gotten a quali lap because we're down here in, what is this, P12, I think, with the fishies. One more guy off the start line. So we're going to go into this turn. This is going to be a little bit of a bloodbath. We already have somebody trying to barge past us, on the straight. And
anything is not going his way, he lashes out with unnecessary anger.
That may be the case that we're trying to disprove. Whatever just happened right in front of us there could probably be counted as a crime in multiple countries. But nonetheless, we're going to carry on here. But not for very long, because we go into the side of that Ferrari. He just had a horrible exit. He must have been avoiding the car ahead, and I, just like a dumbass, ran right into him. But we carried on, kind of fought back. It took us a little bit here as we edge up on this Merc, and he's not having a good time on the straight. It would seem more like he's trying to row a boat down the back straight of Spa, but we got past him, no problem. The Ferrari just showing its dominance everywhere it can. And now we're looking at this group of 2 Ferraris who are definitely in a little bit of a battle. And we're looking for some good racing here. We're kind of bumped on exit, but I think all's well that ends well. No harm, no foul. But I feel like I can sense danger at this stage in the race because I swing out wide here, brake a little bit early,
I spun the nigga around, and I put the nigga in a full Nelson.
Clearly not the best move there into turn one. I would say you're probably braking much more than that guy was. I decided to screw up Rouge and Radion, probably just thinking about the atrocity that just happened before my eyes. Now lap 3 of 7 in this race, and we're pushing. I mean, we're absolutely in it to win it. Not a horrible gap, considering the amount of laps left to the leaders. And we're cooking up on P4. We put the nose up the inside here like we're going to go for the move, and he just overcooks it. Way on the outside. We're going to go up the inside. Nice, clean pass, you know, threw him the dummy, and he took it, and he just could not hold the car. Could not squeeze, couldn't get a good exit, so we're going to blow right past that. Into the final section here, lap 5 of 7 now. And you can't see the pixel of the car in front really, but on the timing board you can see the time is coming down slowly but surely. But if I can see correctly, it looks like we're a good 4 seconds back, which is kind of crazy. He is doing abhorrent things on the side of the road. But we're still kind of in a race by ourselves at this point, and that's kind of a hard thing about AC public lobbies sometimes is you can often be in a race by yourself for a large part of the race and not see anybody, just given the gaps that you get after the first lap shenanigans. The leader's on the final lap, and we're on the final lap trying to keep it clean. We can't, as we run into the dirt, and a little bit of deja vu here as we throw the nose at the inside, and this guy just decides to not brake for the corner. He was clearly more committed to running us off the road than he was committing to turning into the corner, just going head on, which is odd. Another victim, side of the road, might be in a Ford, we're not sure. And everybody's just dying at this stage of the race. What's unfortunate is it's all back markers, and it's nobody up front. So we do have to bring it in for a nice P4, but we'll take it. So we managed to get past that race. We finally get into a quali session here where it's looking like we might have a chance of a clean quali. This is another thing that AC public lobbies might never be able to shake off reputation-wise, is the qualifying is just, I mean, it's criminal. You're never going to get anybody to move out of your way half the time, and you're probably never going to get a lap uninterrupted with traffic unless you're in the perfect time slot. We try to let the McLaren know that, like, you know, we're coming up, we're on a faster lap, and he's having absolutely none of that. So we're just going to pass him through Rouge and Radion. Unfortunately, we're just going to understeer, and I don't know if this was necessarily across the track limit. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. That's not for me to decide, but we screwed that lap up anyway, and so we had to give it another shot. And this time, thankfully, coming out of this corner with no traffic. Not to spoil it here, but this does not last very long. But we're coming up to turn 1, and we're braking just as that board on the left kind of exits your vision. You know, down into first for this, and just running through, not the best exit, but nonetheless, you know, gonna go for the lap here. Unfortunately, we have another Ferrari in front of us, just came out the pits, not on a hot lap, and just decides to not get out of the way. And this is kind of what we're talking about, where there's really no penalty for him to, you know, there's no penalty to enforce this guy to not impede me or to get out of the way. But I think if you can get into a lobby with respectful people, you know, it will go your way. Unfortunately, that's not what happened here. And we just got absolutely pummeled by this guy. So we're down in like P8, I think, now. So we're going to have to go ahead and fight from the basically what is the midfield, but is in a way going to be the back of the pack. Not necessarily all the way in the back, but we get out of turn 1 here actually kind of unscathed, surprisingly. The Beamer, you know, give us a little bit of a shove, but nothing too dirty. We're going to try and bump draft him down here. Really no reason to try and pass with cold tires and a lot of fuel. At this stage of the race, you're not looking to pass the Rouge and Radion. It's never going to be smart. So we get through that. Everybody, again, unscathed, which is so far a miracle. Now this Merc is going to be, on the right here, is going to be a main character in this race. As you can see, he's squeezing nice and tight up into this corner. He kind of gives me a bump, and it kind of unsettles me, which kind of, you know, forces me into him. I felt kind of bad, so I let him through, which, you know, is made completely irrelevant by the move we're about to make into this corner. Absolutely sending it, locking the brakes up, and just slamming the Merc out of the way. Unfortunately, this time restitution was not in the playbook for me because, you know, shame, you know, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, I'm gonna pass. We're not gonna sit here and fuck around. So, I mean, it's the opening lap. We're not trying to sit here and get involved in a fight. We want to pass as cleanly as possible, which isn't what we've done for the first part of this lap. So that's kind of what we're gonna, you know, focus on at this stage in the race. Still, you know, connected towards the top of the pack here, which is good because if they drop you and you're working on fighting with, you know, I don't know, 5 and 6, you're really going to get dropped. I mean, in this lobby specifically, we did have a couple of fast guys, and this is sort of what I mean. The Merc, with a decent gap behind us, just because we go up the inside of the beamer there, the Merc gets, you know, to have a beautiful run on the main straight, which sucks because this pack in front of us is the pack for the lead, which we could be fighting for. But unfortunately, we're not. We decided to let the Merc through. We had the run. We did kind of do some more atrocities to him. That guy gets absolutely pummeled out of the way, and the Merc, I just can't really tell you what he's doing, and that's going to be 2 down before the corner even starts, which is crazy. These two, I mean, running all over each other, stepping all over each other on the exit of the corner. If the Merc bumps me, and it's very hairy, you know, lots of bumping, lots of rubbing, pause. But these two,
hey bro, watch your jet, watch your jet, bro, watch your jet.
They don't leave me out of it because we get absolutely destroyed. It really was just a case of me moving across the line. Whose fault was it? I don't know. But we get absolutely murked. So now we're in this, you know, unfortunate position where we were kind of fighting for the lead of the race, and now we're fighting to just kind of get back up with the group in general. But we're going to do our best. Finally getting the move done on this beamer. I'm not sure why it was so hard, given the fact that he had literally just ran himself off the road. But we make it happen, and we continue on. Coming around here for lap, I'm not sure, 4 of 7. Once the notification goes off, I can see that. For lap 4 of 7, now 5 of 7, and we've caught back up to the main pack, which is fortunate for us. You know, given everything that has happened this race, I think even being in the fight for a podium at this point is probably good. But of course, enough is never enough, and we're going to be going for the win here. So this Ferrari kind of getting held up by this Merc, who is defending well, but the pace is just not there. I just think the Ferrari is faster around this track, probably because it is a GT2. It's easier to drive, which makes it a little bit easier to be consistent over and over and over again. So, you know, me and the guy in front of me, whose name is Old Timer, I'm not sure where that one came from, to be honest, but we're definitely all over the tail of this Merc, and we're looking to pass at this point for the lead of the race because the Merc just isn't holding the pace that, you know, the Ferraris can. And obviously the goal in racing is to pass and to win. So that's what we're going to try and do. You know, when you get stuck into a train like this, it's kind of hard to predict what's going to happen because, you know, the gap here is relatively even, and until somebody makes a mistake like that, you don't really get a chance to pass in areas like that in the straight, where it would be easier than taking rough lines like this through the corners, which ultimately lose you time. As you can see, the Merc is just pulling away here, but we've passed the Ferrari, you know, which is thankful because I will admit that that guy was quite quick in the Ferrari and was going to be an issue if he was going to be the one in the lead. So thankfully we've passed him, we've made our move, and we can attempt to just run away in the slipstream of the Merc, who at this point I would say is feeling the pressure, going deep into one, you know, and is having a little bit of a time through Rouge and Radion here. I mean, the pressure is on at this stage of the race. It is quite literally last lap. He's only got a 7/10ths gap, and he knows that we have the better pace. He's weaving all over the straight, trying to break the toe. We end up just sticking, trying to conserve our straight line speed. Nice deep braking. As you can see how much we gain through there. I mean, we go from a 7/10th gap to what looks to be like a 4/10th gap. And I mean, that just shows, I think personally, how much better the Ferrari is in a lot of areas. Long rotation on the brakes, you know, as you can see here, it's just eating up the Merc, and we're not really taking these corners as good as we can. And as we look into like the last couple of corners of the lap here, we are all over the Merc. The Ferrari is still all over us, but a win is in sights here. The Merc with a shoddy exit out of that corner. Nice slipper over steer for him. We're going to get the run. A little bit of bumping, a little bit of rubbing, and then unfortunately, we do not keep it clean here.
I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this.
I mean, to say that we've been fucked is an understatement. I mean, it was close racing. It was hard racing. I think ultimately both of us were being quite aggressive, and that was always going to lead to a crash. So it was unfortunate that it had to happen to me. So we're going to come across the line in a measly P4, which should have been the win. I can tell you this was a while ago, but I was most certainly livid at this result because it was just a hard time. But I mean, overall, it was some really great racing. I mean, you don't get that all the time, so. So we move on here to our third and final race of the video. Now this one we were able to start P1, which was, you know, fortunate for us. We got a good quali in, you know, set a decent lap, and we're able to attempt to not be in the shithole that is the rest of the pack behind us. Getting off the line quite well. The Ferrari's not too hard to launch. Just keep the revs in a decent spot. Let the wheel spin die out, and it will go. We go nice and deep. We want to avoid anybody kind of sending bombs our way, as if we are Ukraine. Thankfully, we avoid all of that. As you can see, there was a whole bunch of shit happening behind us, and we managed to keep our nose clean, or our tail clean, I guess, considering we were in the lead. And so now, ideally, we stay in the lead for the entire race, and we bring it home for a win. So we'll see if we can pull that off. We do have what I think is the Beamer behind us right now, and to be honest, we're playing this stage of the lap quite crap. I mean, trying to, you know, pull out a gap and take our lines clean and just, you know, keep it calm, keep it steady, keep it consistent, and drive away, which we are doing, but the lines are just not there. I can tell you, if this guy behind us was, you know, a little bit more on it that day, we'd have been passed up so easily. Fortunately for us, the guy behind is not having a good time. I don't know if you can see that there, but we'll play it back one time. He's turning to the left, and then he just goes to the right, and then he hits the wall. I'm not sure what he was doing, but it keeps going left there for a while. That's Poulon, if you don't know. It's like a huge left-hander. Very awesome corner to drive through, but you can get moments like that where you end up turning to the right when you should be turning to the left. Let's move on from him, because I'm sure he was having a hard time, and he was having a rough day, I'm sure. So we'll leave him alone. We're now P1 driving, of course, and still looking to kind of run away. We have like a 3-second gap, which is not horrible. We can definitely work with a 3-second gap, especially if we can actually get some pace on instead of locking up for 40 meters in a row and running some consistent, clean laps. This is where some of our issues start. The gap here is still 2 and some change seconds, and we now have a back marker coming out of the pits, which is going to impede us pretty seriously here. As you can see, he's just slapping the brakes on through just a high-speed section of corners. We almost cut the track, not this time though. And then after this, he decides to, you know, try to tuck into our slipstream, and then he just doesn't decide to fight, which was so weird because for a little bit it seemed like he was going to try and challenge us for the P1 position. Maybe he realized we were P1 and it was a close fight. But given the shenanigans that happened through Rouge and Radion, the McLaren is now all over us. Not actually, but the gap is significantly lower than it was to start this lap. So now we kind of have to worry about driving away. We're kind of focused on not making mistakes. As you can see, we are making a lot of mistakes. Not really the best driving that we're having here. Thankfully, the McLaren, being such a shit car, I told you so, is also struggling. So that's an advantage that we have. Another advantage that we have is this combination is just so ingrained in my brain that, you know, there's not always pressure to perform because it's mostly just setting consistent laps, not messing up egregiously, especially in some of these public lobbies where you get guys that, you know, it's not a league or anything like that, so the racing is not always as close. There are more mistakes being made, but it can still be fun. It can still be nice, hard racing that you can have if you just jump in, you know, at any old time. As you can see, we're struggling hard with the Ferrari here and not really pulling away the way we want to from this McLaren. You could argue that maybe the pressure is getting to me a little bit. But we're going to go through Puan here, nice and smooth, downshift one, throw it into the corner. You're on the limit of grip. And unfortunately, the McLaren there will play that back as well. Maybe just goes over the limit of grip because he starts turning too far left. It's like a long left-hander, but you don't want to turn too far left or, you know, you'll do what he did. So at this point, we're just doing a victory drift because we know, you know, the next guy behind us is many, many, many seconds away, and it looks like now he's crashed. And we have back markers in between us. We have this back marker in front of us who decided he wanted to almost murder us. But we come across to the final lap, into the final corner, nobody near us. A nice, clean 2 corners onto the finish line to show that AC public lobbies maybe are good, maybe aren't good. I don't know. You tell me your opinion in the comments, and we'll see what you have to say about it. Until then, I will see you next time.